So Rachel, I'm excited to have you on the ProLife Team podcast. Would you introduce yourself as if you were speaking to a small group of pregnancy clinic directors?
Sure will. Well, my name is Rachel Owen, and I've actually was a director for over 15 years of several clinics in the Midwest. I am now the CEO of Infinite Worth, which is a 24/7 nurse chat line, which has been so much fun. Like it's a dream come true. Just a lot of fun wrapping around center directors and loving them well and serving them well. And then also, let's see, I have 6 kids. I live on a farm in the Midwest with my precious high school sweetheart. We've been married now almost 29 years this summer. And on this little farm, we mostly just raise children and their pets. So that's what we do on the farm. It's not too intense, but that gives us enough time to really pursue a lot of our passions, which is pro-life and just sowing into other lives and catching women before they head to the abortion clinic. So that's what we're really passionate about here in my home. And when I say it's our heart and our ministry, it really is. It takes a joint effort between a husband and a wife to make a pro-life ministry roll and rock and all that good stuff. So that's what we do.
Wow. Awesome. Well, and before we get started, what are you currently growing at your farm? I'm trying to remember. You mentioned it last time I talked to you several months ago.
Yeah. Oh, I am passionate about garlic. So don't get me started
That's
on
what
that.
it was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right
We
now
won't start
I'm
on
on a
it then.
garlic kick. Yeah.
Awesome.
Oh.
So for those who don't know, can you describe what the 24/7 nurse chat provided by Infinite Worth looks like, or what that experience is for someone who comes and sees it on a website?
Yeah. So this is so much fun to talk about. I get really excited about this. Almost as excited as garlic. But the thing that happens on the nurse chat is that it is designed to really pull in that Gen Z. The ones we're missing, the ones that over the last few years we have been as center directors like wondering why our numbers are going down or wondering why we have so many no-shows. It's because the generation that's here we need to tweak and target a little bit better. And so that's really where this came out of. Brandon Monahan from Heritage House and Hope Sync and Bright Course had approached me. I was helping do a little bit of just copy and not too much, just helping with some scripts and stuff. And then when we met, he's like, hey, I think you need to come and run this program for me. And when I saw what it could do to help bring in that Gen Z, I got super excited. We at our center, we're already doing and had been doing for a long time 24-hour answering the phones and not only chatting and doing texting, but also 24 hours and having it done by our nursing staff, which is a bit much. Don't tell them that the normal pregnancy center doesn't do that. I might have alluded that everybody does. So, but when we started doing that, we saw just the fruit was real. Like we were catching those ones in the middle of the night. We were catching that Gen Z and keeping that appointment. And so this is what got me excited about Infinite Worth and also the partnership with HopeSync. So if you don't know what the HopeSync platform is this beautiful platform that Brandon designed to really be used in the pregnancy center counseling room to send literature via text to really go into this next generation. The generation we have right now to read a piece of paper, especially when it's filled with words, is not something they like to do. They really spend 6 hours a day watching 2-minute videos And so the content and really their love language or their particular language is not pamphlets and flyers. And so having something targeted to them on their phone that you can email them was real. And so that's what HopeSync provided for centers, a way for them to text them some really beautiful researched information that was correct and full of love, right? Just the truth and love. And so that was being done. And then we coupled Infinite Worth with this beautiful platform. And what it has created is we have 24-hour nurses that are available to answer these chats. What we do is we take a widget, it's a little widget, and it goes onto the center's website. We partner with them, we learn all about who they are, what they do, how to schedule into their schedulers. And then when a Gen Z, a young person or an older person that likes to text, walks through their website, they see that widget and it pulls them in and it creates a more effective website to grab onto that young woman who's considering an abortion. When it says right there, hey, chat with a nurse live 24/7, or hey, have questions about abortion, we can answer those now, or questions about an unplanned whatever it is that fits that center, and all of that can be tailored to each center. So what happens is, and then the nurses answer those chats. And what we have found is that it's been incredible. I mean, I can't even tell you, Jacob, it was literally blew us out of the water. We thought we would have lots of time. We thought our nurses, we even had things for our nurses to do in the meantime while we were growing the chat. And guess what? It totally blew up on us. It was 3 times more effective than we thought it would be in pulling in that abortion vulnerable minded woman. And then what happens is that she chats with them and she talks to them about the need for an ultrasound before they have an abortion. She starts to relate with them, and we call it, actually, in our digital bedside manner training, we call it the pre-appointment relationship. And we've had some really incredible stats that have built. We've only been doing this, Jacob, like 11 months now. 11 months. So next month will be, in April, we will be a year old. Our nurses have chatted with 23,000 women in the 11 months. Isn't that crazy? It's been just
That's amazing.
Amazing. It is just amazing. And we are partnered now at this point. I think as of today, we're partnered with 160 centers that we have partnered with. And as we partner with each center, our nurses learn that center. They get to tailor the scripts for that center. We put in all the resources from the area to that particular center so that our nurses are informed on what's happening in that center. And then we just customer service. We love on that center well. We connect with them. Now, there have been, since we have literally been building this plane as we're flying it, we have learned a lot. In the first few months, it was a little bit rocky, like learning the landscape and adding to the program, just the basic programming things. And we've been able to turn this into a lean, sweet baby saving machine. It's just been so much fun to partner with the centers.
Awesome.
And to really become one with them. We become an extension of the center, which is exciting to me, because not only do I know the intensity of running a center, it's a lot of work, and it's sometimes really hard, Jacob, to find the staff you need and to find the nursing staff you need if you're medical, and if you're not medical, it's hard to keep them, and just life is hard, and spiritual warfare and everything that goes on with being a director. Directors are really incredible people. I honor them. I want to serve them well, because it's not your average person that can be a director, Jacob. They literally wear like 10 job description hats. They're a different breed altogether. And the only reason I say the fuel that they run on is just pure Holy Spirit. There's just no other way
Hmm.
a, a person without the Holy Spirit could do that job, because it is such an intense job.
So, and this, when you say, this chat, this widget that goes onto a website, it's different than other chat widgets that someone may have used in the past, like live chat or one of these other chats, or even pure
Mm-hmm.
chat. These different chat widgets where, someone chatting via computer, whereas this one is chatting. This one connects the person to their phone and chats via SMS, the way that people chat every day via SMS text messages. And what's amazing about that, and one of my favorite parts of this experience that your group has crafted here, is that those text messages are there in their history. So in
Yes.
30 hours or in, down the road later on, she can go
Months.
back
Months.
and
Mm-hmm.
months and find that
Mm-hmm.
chat thread
Mm-hmm.
and respond,
Mm-hmm.
look at previous
Yeah.
links. She can copy the text and forward it to a friend. This is really
Mm-hmm.
amazing. Whereas a normal chat experience on a website is on that website, and once it's over, you can request a copy, but who does? And then it's
Yeah.
gone. Whereas
Mm-hmm.
this has longevity.
Yeah.
And my understanding is that every pregnancy clinic website needs this connection, this piece. Like, this is a universally amazing idea. Can't see a reason not to have it, honestly. I mean, this is, and also, can you speak a little bit about how your group pairs up with someone's existing team who would like to handle chats during business hours, and what that might look like when
Yeah.
there's a flight covering their area?
Absolutely. Well, my goodness, I think we need to hire you as our publicist. You need to be out there selling this.
Well, no,
You're
we're all
you're
on the same
great.
team. I mean, I like to
We
sell good
are.
ideas to the team.
Yes, I love it. Well, SMS is gold. It really is gold. I mean, it creates such a great environment because, as you know, SMS gets answered. Where sometimes other forms of communication don't get answered today, right? Like emails don't get answered, or even on an app or a platform, you have to log in and all of that. This has the highest rate of answer, and so that's what we need. We need engagement, right? And that's been incredible. Plus, what it gives us is that continuity of care, right? So we have these centers who are trusting us to answer their chats, and we want them to have full understanding of everything that's gone on in that chat. So when that center volunteer gets up in the morning, comes into the office, and our nurses have scheduled an appointment in the middle of the night, then she can get up and she can open up HopeSync, and she can see the whole conversation. She can see, oh my goodness, this woman is living on the streets because she got kicked out of her home. She's in a domestic violence situation, and we need to help find her a place to live this afternoon. That's our one goal, is to get that done, and she's pregnant. And so, but they get to see everything so they know what's coming in the door. And that's exciting, like that continuity of care and that transparency. It's not, it's been absolutely, just like you said, just like the SMS is different, right? It's different than most chats services,
Mm-hmm.
and it's more effective, right? Just like having the continuity of care has been incredibly effective, because like you said, we're all in this together. We need to do it well, and we need to be transparent in doing that. And there's a lot of services out there right now, a lot of call services and things that aren't particularly transparent. This way, you know what's happening and going on. There was a particular one center that we started working with that was our one of our flagship centers. We started off with a little bitty center, a medium center, and then a large center. And this particular large center it was like crickets when the widget was on there. It was nothing was happening, and they were spending a considerable amount of money on some advertising. And then we came along and we said, hey, I think there maybe needs to be an adjustment in the advertising. So they made some really awesome adjustments. And then guess what, Jacob? As of today, this center, we have hardcore together saved 200 babies. We're not talking just this, they might have been like life-minded. These were all abortion determined women that changed their mind because they chatted and then they came into the center and had their ultrasound. Now, the beautiful part about this particular story is that we are doing it together. We're not doing it separate from the center. We're just an enhancement. We've seen some stats that have come out of our centers. And in general, if a young woman has a pre-appointment relationship, that's what we are calling this, a pre-appointment relationship, right? With a nurse on the texting, she's 30% more likely to make an appointment. And then she's 28% more likely to keep that appointment. And then in some centers, we've seen that she's 3 times more likely to choose life because she talked to someone in the beginning and walked that walk with them and then came into the center. And so these are some really fun stats to talk about. And it's interesting because each center is a little bit different. And so boy, it's been quite a ride. I can't tell you how much fun it has been to wrap around centers and to provide that extra support that they need. The other stat that just shocks me deeply is the fact that our nurses chat obviously 24/7, and it's 60% of those conversations are after hours. So that is crazy, right? So that's a lot of stuff going on after hours, and they're able to make those appointments, and that's really amazing. But like you said, I'm getting to your question, which was, what about during the day hours and working side by side with the centers? So some centers, actually, it's over.
How do
it's
they
over,
like?
I think,
So when the
9%.
when the volunteer comes in, she can see the conversation, and then she can add notes. And then if her shift comes to an end, she could hand it back, right?
Oh, absolutely. So during the day, centers can run their own chat. And that's what the beauty part of it is they can actually chat with their clients that have come in that didn't come through the nurses. They can chat, they can send messages to whoever they need to. And they can also take over that chat during the day. Now, about 90% of our centers actually have the nurses on 24/7. But the 10% that don't really enjoy chatting and communicating with their potential client. It's great. And then we take over in the evening. So we pick up in the evening. Or let's say it's the weekend. We have several centers that do this where they have like an email request form on their website. And that email request form is, there's a few coming in on Saturday and maybe Sunday. But our centers, what they'll do is they'll start the conversation in texting. They'll say, hey, can we text? I know you emailed us, but can we text? And I'm going to hand you over to our nurse chats, and they will answer your questions and get you scheduled if you'd like an appointment. So they'll literally hand it over on the weekends to the nurses so that they don't have to, so that they can rest on the weekends, right? They work hard during the week and they need rest on the weekends, and they also need I should say restful rest, but they need the reassurance that these young women who are in crisis on Saturday night get to talk to someone who they trust, right? And so that's what we get to bring to the table, is this trusted, they know that they're going to be talking to a nurse who is experienced on the chat. and who is able to answer their questions and to book that appointment. That's really powerful.
So, how many nurses does it take to support the 150 current chats that are actively running?
Yeah, right now we have about we just brought on a few more, so we have about 17 nurses right now that we're working with. So yeah, it's really awesome. And so all of our nurses, this is another thing that we do is we follow the telehealth laws in each state. And so even though honestly, Jacob, we are just a glorified scheduling system is what we are, but we do apply to the telehealth laws in each state. So our nurses are licensed in each state that we are in. And so each center that we're in, they're licensed. And then we are bringing on a precious physician who is also licensed in every state of the US. And so our goal by the end of this year is to be in every state. We just have to work ourselves into that. We're almost there. We're at about, I think, 38 states right now we are in. And we're now bringing in some of the blue states. We started off in the red states where we knew there were some friendlies. And now we're heading off into the blue states. We're branching into Minnesota and California this month and Alaska. And then next quarter, we'll break into a couple of more. I think we're doing next quarter is look at my list, but we're doing Illinois, New York, and one other next month. So we just have a few more to add, and then we'll be in every state in the country, which is our goal this year. Also, one of the things that we have to do a little bit different is because we had. Do you mind if I get into the funding end of it? Do you mind if I do that, Jacob?
Well, I was actually going to ask you that exact question. Well, I do. And so this one's a little bit personal to me because on April 1st, I'm going to try and help apply for a grant with the group out of Oklahoma. And I'm thinking I could share this podcast episode with them as a really good, here's what I'm asking you to fund. And so would you speak to your needs, your financial needs, and with the expectation that a grant reviewer will be considering this piece, and obviously the same, and also everyone that's listening, I would like everyone to understand your needs so that they can pray, give, and redirect as helpful.
Yeah, you bet. You bet. I am. This is where I get excited about, because I do think it's so important to sow into the kingdom and to rescuing life. Like, it is fun for me to give people the opportunity to sow into this because I love sowing into it. I love the eternal reward that I get. I love being able to look at this world and see how lives have been affected because people have given. And that's where I just get super passionate about this. What happened in the beginning was our mission and our heart was to support this 100% through private donations. And we started off with a $500,000 gift from someone very precious. Actually, Heritage House came alongside and they gave all of their off the top of what they made that year. And so that is really precious, is to give that. That is huge. And when they did that, we took that and we thought, oh, we can go a long ways with this. Well, the chat was 3 times more effective than we thought it would be, right? And we put on our first 100 or so centers with that $500,000. And then we realized that we were out and that we needed to come up with a different strategy because we weren't able to. We just grew so fast, right? We grew so fast and we didn't have that donor traction yet. And so we're working on donor traction right now. And what we broke down the cost to have one center on. And that is actually $8,400 plus the cost of HopeSync, which is around $1,000 or so. So about we break it down. It's a little over that. So we say about 10 grand. 10 grand will get a center on with their Hope Sync subscription, and then also with the nurses for 1 year. That covers the cost of the nurse. That covers, and the great thing is we don't, as a ministry, we don't have a lot of overhead because our nurses work at home. Everyone is working at home. We don't have office expenses. We just have nursing staff expenses, and two executive staff. So we're not out there, getting crazy, right? We don't have big plush offices. So that's the bare minimum that we need from each center to make this happen. And what we've done is we've just taken it back to the centers because we have a waiting list. So a few months ago, our waiting list was over, 100. And so what we did was we said, okay, so we have this waiting list, and we're going back to those centers, and we're saying, okay, two things that you can do is you can fund yourself. Now, to me, in fundraising and being a director of many centers, like a goal like that, 8,400 or 10 grand to bring on Nurse Chat for a whole year. Oh my goodness, that's like, less than $1 a minute, or excuse me, less than $1 an hour for a nurse to be available for our pregnancy center is huge. I mean, the cost of a nurse in an average state is, 60 to 100,000, depending on what state you're in. That's what it costs to hire one nurse just full time, not 24/7. So what we're doing here is we're splitting the cost up between the centers, and we're providing this incredible care to the potential clients and to the centers. And so we said, okay, you guys you can fund yourselves. Take this and run with it, and ask your donors if there's someone who would like to pay for this to really wrap around your center and provide this extra staff, really. And so the first center that jumped on board with the 84, we prayed together, and the next day, actually it was the third center now, but it was the first one that we actually got a check from. And she jumped on board. We prayed together. The next day, a church walks in the door and said, hey, we heard that you wanted 24/7 chat nurses, and it was going to cost you $8,400. Here's a check for $8,400. The very next day. It was just incredible, right? And so we know that our God is bigger than the bill, right? If he calls you to something, he's going to fund it. And so we really saw him starting to fund it. And this was just in November where we started to really kick off this campaign of just offering this to the centers, so that they could fund themselves and have this service. And then we've also come alongside of them and said, we can help you fundraise too. We can help you write the letters, your newsletters, or we can also branch off into some different creative fundraising. I'm going and speaking at a couple of banquets now and then, just making sure that their donors understand what's happening and what's going on. That's super fun. I love to do that. And then thirdly, so third is we've offered a program, and we've had a couple takes on this. So we're actually getting a little bit of traction in this, where we do kind of an adopt a center program where you sponsor a center, or you sponsor a flight of nurses, or you come around that local center, that local state, or whichever it is. And then we have the centers apply for that. And what it is the centers, then the cost comes down to around $200 a month. And then we have a sponsor who comes around and pays the extra, which would be $500. And that is really good, because then that donor gets to support that center that can't fund themselves. And that center has a little skin in the game too. And so what we're doing is we're developing this Adopt a Center program. And like I said, we have 2 centers adopted, and we have 10 in the waiting right now. So that is really fun to me, because again, there are small centers that can't fund themselves, or maybe a center who's just done a capital campaign and doesn't want to ask anymore, or there's a thing. But one thing that my heart is, Jacob, is I want the centers to know that we are aggressively trying to raise the money. And we don't want the cost to get in the way of them having the service, right? We're going to work together, put our elbow grease on, and we're going to do it together. We're going to find a way to make this happen because they need it. And the women that are headed to the abortion clinic need it, or to have already ordered that abortion pill and it's headed to their home. They need to be able to chat with that nurse in the middle of the night when they're sitting on the side of their bed going, do I take this pill or not? They need someone to talk to, and we need to be there for them in the middle of the night. And so it's so exciting to raise funds for it. One thing about the funding is, we have those 3 opportunities. We're also working on getting, again, those private donors to wrap around the whole organization and wrap around those individual centers. So we are working hard at that. I want you to know that. And honestly, like I said, we don't want funding to inhibit you from coming on board and having the 24/7 nurse chat. So we will walk you through this and walk with you through this so that we can get that funding for you. We're not going to leave you dry on this. We want as many centers as possible to be utilizing this amazing tool that helps bring in more women into the centers and helps them to see the value of themselves and the value of the life inside of their womb, so that they can maybe meet Jesus for the first time. So that is what our passion, our mission and vision is. And so if you're at all interested in this, reach out to us, reach out to our team. You can reach out to me, which is Rachel@infiniteworth.org. We have Savannah, who is, she is our onboarding expert for HopeSync, so that you can go to Savannah@pro.life. That's at Savannah@pro.life. And you can set up an appointment to have a free demo of HopeSync so you can see the value of all those great videos. There's like 200 pieces of literature on there to send out to your clients. That'll save you all kinds of money that way. I love to tell that to centers. It saves you money on your actual literature, and then you get this digital platform that you get to text this out to them. And of course, there's videos. The videos are incredible. They're done by doctors and lawyers, and there's relational videos. There's medical information videos. There's testimony videos. And so it just wraps around those women. Our nurses, their favorite series of videos are, the importance of ultrasound before you have an abortion. There's a great video on that we use daily. There's a great video on learning your cycle and when you might be fertile. Those seems to be questions that we get all the time on the nurse chat. And then of course there's videos on making hard decisions and how to walk all the way around that decision and look at every aspect before you make a decision that could change the rest of your life. And so these are good, wholesome materials that you can use inside of your organization that can enhance not only your relationship with your clients, but also help them to hear what you're saying in their language. I like to compare it to, if we were going to China, we're going to have to learn Mandarin to share the gospel. Here in the United States, if we are ministering to the Gen Z, for them to hear us, we have to be on the phone where they're at. We have to be speaking SMS. We have to be speaking that text language. That is their love language. And I joke about this, but it's true. This generation was born with that phone in their hands. They were literally born with it in their hand, and they don't feel comfortable with face-to-face relationships. And that's where the power of that SMS comes in. They literally are, it's crazy. Statistics share that it's 60% more likely to go to another website and to your competitor if you do not have a place where they can chat and where they can make an appointment online. If you are not, as a center director, have those options on your website, you are losing clients to Planned Parenthood. I know that sounds rough, But as a former director, and as I work with directors and websites and marketing every day and work on that chat, watch the nurses do their amazing work, I see the value of this day after day after day. So I encourage you, look into this, get involved in it, and let us come alongside of you and help make this happen for your center in your state, in your area.
And know that I am God. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am God. Fire of midnight, thunder over waves, the murmur we can't hear it all, the reaching of our hands, the alibi of the broken, the wish inside the earth, the chorus of our questions, all creatures of the earth. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am God. Broken sob at the graveside, the wedding bells at noon, the sounds of the lost and found, the reaching of our hands, the wail and the lion, the mother and her son, the family of terra firma, creatures of the earth. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am God.